ये जो आवाज आ रही है, हेलो।
अरे भाई हमेशा आती तेरी आवाज। उसको तो जवाब नहीं दे रहा है।
अरे मेरे वजह से निकाल दिया मेरे को, मतलब पता नहीं कैसे।
Okay. Okay, good enough. I'm seeing many messages over here. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Haneet Kaur and I'm here from Geeks for Geeks LPU chapter, presenting over in front of you guys and hosting this day 2 of our GFG LPU chapter 2 bootcamp. And here let's move forward with some introduction and a feedback about our day 1. So okay, anyone wants to just give his output, raise your hands. Let's see what's your feedback from your side. Okay, we will give you a chance to speak over here. Please raise your hands if someone wants to speak and it's something, give his or her introduction, tell us about his or her experience about the day 1 or anything. Okay, let's go with Sahil Dhingra.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, Sahil.
Ma'am, in my BC, I have learned Angular and Ionic. So I want to learn React because this is the demand. So will I be able to learn it? Is it somewhat related to the Angular React?
Okay. It would be a better if all of like questions like related to the learnings and everything would be answered by our mentor itself. So let me firstly just introduce my mentor once again for the day 2. Are you sir? Yeah. So welcome our mentor for the day 2 again. It's welcome Mr. Sheikh Azhar, and I want to say you sir that like it's again time we are again present over here in front of you to learn once more for the day 2. So will you please answer Sahil Stinga's question first? Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Hello, everyone. You guys are just
Yes,
wrong. Every day, hello, Sahil. Okay, so the very first thing, Sahil, as you were asking, that this is related to Angular or something or not? Yes, of course. Angular is also one of the front-end libraries that based on, no, that is not library, that is a framework based on JavaScript only, but React is the library that based on JavaScript. But again, both of these has different advantages and disadvantages. But again, if you go to the market trend, then React is the best option you can go with. So yes, you are getting it right that you should go with React.
thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Yes, React it love. Hello, Honey. Honey, is my audio is it audible or is it breaking? Like there are a lot of messages that it's getting on. Please unmute yourself, honey. I still can't hear you.
Sir, it's little bit breaking in between.
One moment.
And let me also change the audio table on this. Okay, is it fine now?
Yes, sir, it's now properly audible to us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go with one more question or introduction by Deepak Gajwal.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. And my name is
Hello.
Deepak, and I have learned React 2 months before, and also have done a couple of projects. I'm very excited to this because the projects I have done are not big. So I was really looking for some exposure of a big project. And there was a difference learning from the YouTube or learning live from the experts. So this was the right opportunity for me, and that's why I registered in and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Such a great response from your side. Thank you for this brief feedback. So I think without delaying, now let's go with our session. If sir, is it fine for you? May we go ahead?
Yes, of course, let's just jump into this.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
Thank you, guys. We will take more questions later on. And here I want to introduce my co-host Bhavik Jan, who will introduce with me for this day 2. So Bhavik, you want to give your introduction? You can.
hello, Bhavik.
Yeah, hello, sir. It's honor to have you here. The yesterday session was really
Thank you
great,
so much.
and yeah, I'm hoping to have this today's session really amazing, more grateful than yesterday's. So yeah, so you can begin ahead.
Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you, Bhavik. Okay, so now without delaying, we want to start our session. So all stages yours, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Now, answering with the last question I had. Okay, firstly, you guys, please don't call me sir or anything. I'm just the guy, a normal guy, just like you guys. We all are trying and just growing in our own life. So my name is Azhar, Azhar. Do not call me sir or anything. I'm nothing like that. I'm just Azhar. Now, as you were asking, the last question was something like, you were looking for the big projects, right? So right now within this 15 days, of course, as I've already asked yesterday, that how much time do you expect to make a huge project on Mern stack, or maybe at least sufficient? So most of them were like maybe 2 to 3 months, right? So now within this 2 to 3 months duration, you can make sort of a project just to put it on your portfolio and learn Mern stack properly. But here we do not have that much time. Here we have only 15 days. So within this 15 days, what we are going to do is a sort of a major modules that we are going to pick, and we are, of course, in further we are going to discuss what we are actually going to do. But yes, in industry level project, how you how you plan, how you create, how you architect, how you create the back end, how you create the front end, and how you can just join all together and create a full stack project and deploy at the end of the day. So that is the entire motive for this bootcamp that we are going to create. And of course we are going to create it from the scratch, and there's a lot of fun we are going to have. Now let's begin. And some of the questions that most of you are asking from yesterday, even now you guys are just asking on the chat box. Like suppose the very first common question was, you did not join yesterday, so it is absolutely fine. So it is absolutely fine if you haven't joined yesterday. Just throw a mail on this mail ID, which I'm just sending right now. Maybe this one, I guess. Honey, please send the mail ID where they can just send a mail. Just simply just send a mail and you will get the entire drive link. Yeah, so entire drive link where we are uploading all those videos for every day. And of course, at the end of the day, we'll also be uploading to the YouTube. But yes, if you're going to wait for to be uploaded on YouTube and then you are going to watch, then of course those content would be there. But this live sessions, this interactions, and how we are moving forward to this, like this sort of bonding, we won't be able to create. Like I won't be there to help you directly like this. So for a recorded sort of a video which already have many, you can go and you can wait for that. But yes, just to learn live and how we are thinking, how we are moving forward, so these things would be cut out on that video which you can enjoy here, and of course we can learn and grow together. Okay, so on today's session, the major motive what we are going to do is as okay, let's start with the Zomato and Amazon fight. So as we already did yesterday, so that was huge, man. That was huge. The feedback we were getting, and we were so confused. Like Amazon, see, even still, you guys are, man. Amazon and Zomato, Amazon, Zomato. So there was a huge fight, but now, ideally, you know, Zomato won the game. Yes, very clearly, but no, actually, Amazon won the game. Ah, man, don't spam the chat, don't spam the chat, don't spam the chat, please. Don't spam the chat. Uh, Bala, right? Bala, please don't spam the chat. I got you. You want to go forward with Zomato. Here is something. I have something for you, anyways. Okay. So Amazon clearly won the match, but then there was a lot of discussion, like a few points that we picked up, which was really making sense. Something like if we are moving forward with Amazon, then on internet, maybe on YouTube or many other places, you can find many instructions or many courses or many live playlist where you will be building that Amazon clone with different tutors. But Zomato is becoming the rarest one, and we thought to go with Zomato. So yes, Amazon was the winner ultimately, but yes, it was making sense to go with Zomato. That's why we shifted to Zomato. But yes, for sure, later on we are also moving forward for another bootcamp or something. Then we might choose Amazon. And moreover, there are also a lot of things to discuss, like Zomato and Amazon. Like with name, this two thing is the different thing, right? But again, like suppose if you're comparing with football and cricket, both of these are sport, right? So even both of these are e-commerce ultimately. Like all these structures and everything belongs to the e-commerce sectors only. Like suppose if we will be building Zomato, then all those components, all those architecture, all those planning and everything, you can implement the same way on Amazon. So what you can do is you can also take it as your task. Like you can just create your you can learn this you can learn building Zomato from here, and you can build your own Amazon by yourself, because you will be learning all those architectures, how you can plan, how you can build everything, so all those things you will already have on your hand. So this would be a good challenge for you to create the Amazon, and of course that will be your end assignment anyways. And we might also come up with something else. Let's see. Okay, so finally we are moving forward with Zomato. Now let's plan how we are going to move forward. Now see, we are not going to build, we are not going to just jump onto the coding and let's just build, let's just code, let's start our node project, let's just code this. No, we are not going to do that. Maybe one day, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, even on third day if it is needed, we are going to be very clear that what we are actually going to build. Like whenever you are going to build a certain software, it feels like you are just going to sit there, like on the very first day you are going to sit there and you are going to start the coding. But no, bro, it is not going to happen at all. What's going to happen is you have to understand all the fundamentals and how that software is really going to affect the market. What are the requirements, what are the fundamentals, what are the modules that are needed. So there are a lot of things that needs to be clear at first before you jump into the software making software making concept. So then what we have thought about it is, let's just create that concept clear first. Let's just clear what we are actually going to build first, and then we can move forward and start setup and everything. Yes, for sure. So how we can do it, let me share. Okay, let's just use Goggle. And of course, if some of you have your desktop on your hand, then that would be great. You can just do right away, just like me. And what else you can do is like you can just draw on your by your hand only, like just take a pencil or maybe pencil would be pencil would be better, and then just draw whatever we are trying to do. Then you can just whenever we are taking note on something, this is very illustrated, and suppose when whatever we are learning from here, the key points, everything, trust me, you are not at all going to remember every single line we are going to learn from here. What you are going to learn, what you are going to remember later on is just the overall ideas what you are getting. But immediately, if you just take out your notes, any pen and paper or anything, just take out your notes, and whatever it is, just anything which you think which is like a kind of a point which is making a which is making sense for you, or sort of a validating for you, then just note it down. That's it, just note it down. So you are actually not noting it down on your paper. Just lose that paper maybe, but that is an important part. Don't lose that. I'll tell you later why. When you are writing it down, no, then your action to write it down from brain to this, your brain is actually getting practice to remember what you are actually writing. So just write it down. Your brain would already have that concept on your mind, that what you are actually writing and what kind of concept you are trying to grasp. Secondly, this effort literally makes sense. Thirdly, what you are writing, suppose we are discussing something like a module. What is module? Or maybe this coggle, right? Maybe we are going to design something with this coggle, and now you would have thought like what kind of coggle we are going to create, and this coggle, what is this coggle, and so on thing. You can just note it down like simply coggle.in. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. I logged in or not? You don't need to do anything else. So next time when you start planning like what you are actually going to do, what you are actually going to plan, and everything like the structures, the modules and everything, the first thing will remind you is coggle. You'll just go to the coggle and you will understand that how everything is going to work. This is how freelancing works anyways. No, I don't need it, thank you. Okay, so what is coggle? Simply, let's just understand what coggle is. Coggle literally helps you to define this structure what you're going to build. And you know what? I need the chat box right away. Let me just pin it. Wow, you guys are so silently listening to me. Am I getting bored? Am I making you bored or what?
No,
They're so silent. They're not even sending any simple, not even a text on the chat box. Good. Behaving like the good student. No, this is not going to work. Perfect. Let's start building. What we are actually going to build is Zomato for sure. Give me any flea color at least. Okay, cool. Now, firstly, we'll be starting from backend, like how we are interacting with the database, how we're storing those data, how we're creating the entire module, what is module, what is model, and how we are structuring this backend. Like here, we'll be learning majorly three take, which is Node.js, Express, and MongoDB, which is half of Mern, like M for Mongo and E for Express, and N as in Node. Except React is on front end, and this three part is on back end. So we are going to learn Node, Express, and Mongo. But before jumping to those technologies, we have to structure all those fundamentals that we are going to build here. Now, you know what I'm doing here, like this is the same way. Like suppose whenever a client come to me and say like this what they want, and after noting down what they actually want, I just come to Coggle or something like this only, and then just creates the entire module what I'm actually going to build. Then it makes my mind more clear, and it also gives me the feedback like this is If you are going to build this, this is required. If you're going to build this, this is required. So all these queries get cleared, and even later on, I don't even need to remember everything what I have planned. You know, these will just keep remind me like this is what you have done with, this is what is left. Now,
Sir,
yes.
sir, sorry to interrupt you, but your screen is quite blurry. It's not clearly visible.
Oh, which screen? Oh, this one.
Like your Chrome screen, your browser screen.
Okay, wait, let me just configure a bit on this. Again, blurred.
Sir, it's manageable. It's okay.
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Is there any difference between these and these?
And no differences. Like it's still same.
Exactly, then I was using this only. Is it still blurry?
So yeah, it's like a blurry, but somewhat improved. But yeah, it's manageable if you somewhat zoom in.
Blurry as in can you see this Zomato word at least?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can see the words, but it's like 480p quality.
We can go with
Oh.
this. We can
Yeah,
Yeah,
say
it's fine, I guess.
later.
Yep, yep. We can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so as we were building now Zomato, right? Now we are going to structure what we are actually going to build, right? Firstly, what do we need in Zomato? Let's create something like, I'm again zooming this out. And again, let me do one more thing, like if it is possible, but not now, later on. Okay, so we need something like model. Of course, I will explain what these things are. We need modules. These things are there. But before this, let's also clear something. Okay, so in Zomato, if you think in the with the perspective of a general user, how many users there are? What do you think? Like including Zomato, like a general, the type of user, the type of role. I mean, the general user, the delivery guy, the restaurant guy. What do you think? How many in count?
It will be like more than in a million. Like right now, like Zomato is being used like all over India, so there can be many.
100 plus. Okay. 3 type, 1
Yeah,
cat. Man, you guys are crazy. 3 millions, 4. Okay, so generally, how much we are going to, actually there are many, actually there are technicians, even multiple in a restaurant, like front guy, back guy, and there are a lot of things. But what we are going to build is this. Firstly, the hierarchy should be the Zomato management. Secondly, maybe a restaurant. Thirdly, the user. Now there are more, of course, like the delivery guy and all. But you know what? If we start to build the delivery sections and everything, then it's going to make a more complexities and all. But for now, let's just consider that restaurant have its own delivery management, like the like Domino's and other stuff has already. So let's just consider Zomato, like restaurant has their own delivery. Now actually there are a lot of things that we are going to customize and build in our own way, because of course we are short of time. Now in Zomato manager, let me just give a shot of a color to portray this. Okay, now we have 3 type of users: Zomato management, restaurant, and the user. Now just try to illustrate what Zomato management task would have. The flow would be something like, suppose there is a restaurant, like suppose I have a restaurant now, I want to register my restaurant to Zomato, and what I would do is just fill up their form or something and request Zomato that I want to register in your restaurant directory and just allow me in, so that the other user can, you know, make orders from my restaurant on your platform. So here, what Zomato would be then, Zomato would have that option, like the restaurant is applying to them, and the Zomato would be just researching all of these, like suppose this restaurant deserve or not, and these package on all of these things, and then depends on those, Zomato would be activating those restaurant or maybe reject. So there would be something like activate and deactivate restaurant. So activate, deactivate restaurant. So this is again one of the function that Zomato would have, right? Let's not give any other maybe functions, because that will create a more bundle on this. We are just going to create the entire flow from user order to, you know, order success. Then again, we are going to add this Zomato management and restaurant just to create a more illustration, like how we can create multi-vendors platform. Like suppose even in Amazon, like after this only I can elaborate like how this flow could be implemented also on Amazon. So in the basis of restaurant, now what restaurant would have? Okay, so restaurant would have something like, obviously restaurant would have foods, but those food should be in certain category. So suppose categories, items, and the orders, of course. So these three things, right? So in restaurant, there would be three kind of actions, like the category, they can add or remove categories or update anyways, and they can just manipulate those items that, and all these categories and items would belong to this particular restaurant only, and the orders, of course. Okay. So, and the orders, of course, like suppose they will be receiving orders, they would be updating, like suppose it is success, failed, reject, or maybe in progress or something, we'll put some status on it. And these three, I guess. Now user would have something like, of course, order place. So they would have the orders, and what a user might have their own profile, which I guess even others would have, but the user has to be a bit more in details. Orders, profile, and actually there are many, but for this small module we can just stick to this, and if later on if we come across to some more stuff, we might add it. Now suppose all these things, right? Now how we can just implement these stuff to Amazon? Now this Zomato management would be Amazon management. Active, deactivate, like suppose there are certain vendors, like suppose I sell maybe mobile phones and I'm a sort of vendor for selling mobile phones. I have registered to Zomato with my GST number, with everything else, the details that Amazon requires. Then Amazon would be able to activate or deactivate my account. If after that request, if they activate my account, now my account would be listed on the, you know, user home menu, and then the user would be able to place orders and so on. So again, these are this small, very small structure to create any e-commerce module. Now let's go a bit more deeper. These are the actions that we are going to build. Again, I am not liking this sound. Payment address, payment gateway. Yes, of course, payment gateway would be there, but that payment gateway would be connected with restaurant and user. That's the common module, I guess. So we'll be creating on modules and models, all of those structures. So again, okay, so you got a good point. We can add it just right here, maybe payments. Okay, yes, exactly. That's a good idea, I guess. Do you guys have any suggestion here? Sailor, no, Sailor is the restaurant itself. Payment, address. Yes, address would be added to their profile only. Social media integration for login, chatbot. No. Favorites. No. We are not going to create any more stuff to this. That's going to create more confliction here, you know. So, of course not. We have 15 days, and today is like 14, right? We have 14 days left. Search products, restaurant page. Of course, those things would come along front end side. Delivery tracking, Delivery tracking, not in terms of Google Map or something. In delivery tracking, we would be keeping as in just for status. Like suppose if they ordered, so status would be something like order place. Now if the restaurant would change this, like see again, try to observe me how we are planning all this, how we are thinking all this. Like suppose these are the flows that as a user also we know, and how we can implement all these stuff to these particular modules. Maybe it would be on user side, maybe this would be on restaurant side, and how we can just plan all of these. We are just going to do the same thing here. Now, as we are talking about the delivery tracking, right? So delivery tracking, we can put something like on status, not the actual map or something. Again, that will create more confliction here. So on status, as in suppose if the user has placed the order, so the order placed, the status would change. The restaurant would have the access to change the status if they started cooking like in progress, and then if it is out for delivery, so on the way, and if the order is placed, then place the order. That's it. Like order completed, delivered, restaurant diet type, location, restaurants filter. Oh man, that's a lot of things. Review for users. See again, these are no coupons, reviews, tags. All of these are the sub modules that we can implement on any software and optimize it. So all of these ideas are just to make it more beautify. That's it. We are Yeah, and we are not going to create certain stuff here. Like we are just going to create the entire module, right? And suppose how can I elaborate this? Like suppose yes, we are just going to create the food, not going to decorate the entire food and everything, so that makes sense here. Integrate map feature, advanced search, change local language feature using local API. No, again, all of these things are just to beautify this, right? So what we are going to create is the fundamental modules that are needed here, right? Okay. Perfect. Now let's move forward and design these. Okay, now we have to keep in mind that these are the stuff we are going to create. Let's just keep that there only. I cannot share it anyway. Okay, now the models. So let's just create the models, how these models would be and how many models we need. So in model, the very first thing we need is Zomato itself. The second model we need is actually, you know what? We don't need to put this Zomato itself. We can just put this as a user, and we'll be creating the user role right there. And this role management categories. Items that are under categories, and then again we illustrated all of these stuff. Then we are very clear what kind of a module we need here. Model as in, again, we are coming to this. Model is basically the documents, multiple documents, the way we are going to store the multiple documents. Like suppose there would be multiple categories, there would be multiple users, there would be multiple items, there would be multiple orders. So how we are going to add all of these stuff in our database. Payments, I guess categories, items, orders, payments, users, and I guess that's pretty much. Let's beautify a bit just to make it more readable. Okay, now these are the models, right? Now let's discuss what this like for each and every model, what schema would be there. Schema as in, suppose now there are here a short of an introduction is needed. See, now user, right? We are going to store multiple users in our database. Now, what do we need to store for that particular user? Like suppose the name, mail ID, phone number, is the user activated or not, or the address, and let's just type along. That would be much more easier for us to remember anyway. So name, phone, email, address, and what do you think?
Yeah, sorry, sir, to again interrupt you, but please, like, its screen is all again blurred. So may you please zoom it?
Yes, for sure.
But yeah,
But
now it's fine for everyone.
oh,
Thank you.
okay, welcome. Uh, okay, for user, what do you think? What we should store more over, like suppose name, phone, email, address, and what do you suggest more? We are coming to the modules, but model I've just explained. Phone number, yes, we have added already. Card details, no. Role, yes, that is a good point. Address, number, all of this address, pin code, and everything would be right there only. Gender is the good option. Order history, yes, good. Favorite restaurant, active, not active. Password. There are like you know what, you guys are literally making me feel like I'm not, like not all the stupids are here. You know what we are actually doing, and this makes sense. Good. Okay, so along with all of these, we are also going to store many things, like suppose, and thanks to your recommendations, like password, not passwords, it should be password. Now active or not, or maybe we can put something like status, like true or false we can count on. And name, phone, password, email, address, status. I guess that's good. Again, his screen is not clear or what? Roll. I hope I'm not missing anything. Okay. Yes, perfect. Okay, now model. Someone were asking like model, like model was not clear. See, model is something like suppose in our entire project we'll be storing, like in our database we'll be storing certain data, right? Now in the data we'll be storing multiple documents, right? Now on that multiple documents we segregate all those documents. Like suppose we are not going to save the user, categories, restaurants, and everything in the same database. We are going to distinguish in a different way. Like suppose maybe this could be something like user and categories, items. So we are going to segregate all of these stuff. Like user would be in user data, like if there are new users are coming on, we'll be storing all those users to the user data, and to the user model, as in then categories model, then items model. So we predefined all these models at first so that it makes very clear what kind of data we are getting, and all of these data we need to save where, right? So and if we predefined all of these data, then we don't even need to worry about like if to scale this later on, because if we suppose if we add more stuff to this, then we can just come along and add something right here, right? So those stuff we do in database. Now suppose in categories, I guess I'm missing something, which is restaurant. Let me quickly add it. We can keep it green because restaurant is going to be take a lot of things anyways. Okay, now categories. In categories, for first name, then the items that belongs to this category, and restaurant, from which restaurant this particular category is belong to, and images maybe, or one image. Name, items, restaurant, and image. That's pretty much it. Any genius there to suggest more? Oh man, screen is not getting clear. You know what? I think I should pause the video and resume it. Not this, I guess this. Around this, shoot. What's this? Let me know if it improves, huh?
Yes, sir. It's better than before.
Okay, perfect.
Good to go.
Okay, perfect. Now, okay, so in this model, now, okay, so as we were discussing, like in categories, what do you suggest? Any suggestions, right? Okay, maybe I have more. Number of items is still blurry. Okay, categories need to be restaurant specific. Yes, for just to keep it restaurant specific only, we are adding this restaurant name where we are going to add the restaurant ID ultimately, of course. Type of food like Western, Indian, Desi. I guess category itself can define this. Then that would be, then if you're going to add something like Western or Indian or something, then we also need to add something like categories, subcategories, and so on, which we don't want to make conflict here. Now let's move forward to the item. In item again the same, maybe name and which category that belongs to, and again which restaurant that belongs to, and the images. Again, just notice here we added image, only one image for the category, and we are adding multiple images for items. Actually, we can go with one image only because in Zomato we go for only one image. So just go to this name, category, restaurant, image. Okay, anything else? Quantity, price, yes, cost is needed. Quantity is not needed actually, because quantity, like when we'll be ordering this item, then quantity would be needed. And the way and there is another quantity which is something like SKU, like maybe the inventory, how many we have in our inventory. So those things are there, but again we don't want to make it more conflict. Yes, price, tax and all, of course we are not going to work here. So I think this much makes sense. Now in orders. So orders for, suppose for which user, for which restaurant, how many items, and for those items, and of course price. Oh, not price actually. And actually, you know what, within this item we'll be adding something like price, quantity. We can define this under 2. Then we can move forward to something like total. I guess that's pretty much it. Okay, any suggestion here while placing the order? Add-ons not needed. Add rice category, veg, non-veg, like water. Suggested combos, order ID. Okay, so order ID would be already there. Like we'll be using MongoDB, no? So order ID would be generated right there only. And we can create we can create custom order ID. Okay, that is the small thing we can do. Custom order ID we can create. And time of delivery, no, that's not going to add it because that needs a certain algorithm to do it. Items having item ID on order, yes, of course. Loyalty points, no, not loyalty point or anything. Okay, yes, this is going to have item ID for sure. Actually, this items would be, let me elaborate a bit more because you're already aware of JavaScript, so you can understand these syntax. So here, these items, like there would be an array of items, and items would be basically this object, and within this object, there would be something like item ID, like this item ID literally, which item they bought, and then the price for this item, this price, and how many quantity they got. So based on this price and quantity and all the items in this array, we will be calculating the total amount, and then that's it. And actually in this order, there would be few more things, like when we'll be integrating payment gateway, then some of this stuff would be added here also. Now, restaurant, right? So this restaurant, like suppose a restaurant would have few stuff, like suppose maybe the name. Create an object first, name, location, and categories on all things. No, not needed. Image. Again, we are handling single image right here. We are not handling multiple image, which is just fine. And we also need certain data, like suppose the role, which would be from the user only. And why I made it green, because this would be something user only. So restaurant. No, let's not make it here. We can add something if the if for admin, like suppose let's just no. For admin, we can add these data, something like restaurant. Suppose one of the user we can add as an admin, and or maybe there would be three type of user. One is general user, second could be the restaurant owner, or maybe restaurant only, and thirdly Zomato. So the guy who would be restaurant owner, he must have the restaurant ID, of course, right? So we can link it, and then when the guy logged in, then these restaurant data would be reflected to these particular user. Items in the restaurant, ID for restaurant 2, rating restaurant, no, not all this are needed. Cart, no, cart would be the part of front end, and orders, of course. So we missed one more thing in the user based on orders, I guess, yes. Okay, so in payments, we are going to work this later on. You can just put this as pending. When we'll be integrating payment, then we'll come back here and then add schemas and so on. Yes, and for user, we also need something like orders, where again these orders would be an array of maybe only order IDs makes sense. Yes. That's it. Okay, so till now, that is how we have planned. What we did is we just, decided what kind of action we are going to build here, then what kind of a user we need, what kind of functionalities we need, and then we decided what kind of a model we need. And this model is very crucial before going forward to any software, because if you don't know, there would be certain, suppose we don't know, there would be certain something like categories. We know that there would be user, there would be items. Then later on, if we come across certain situation which made us feel that categories are needed just to segregate those items, then we need to add these categories, and we need to reconfigure all the schemas and everything, because these categories would be dependent on these, like these categories, this item would be dependent on categories, then categories would be dependent on orders, and this order would be dependent on restaurants. So all of these are, and then the user orders, all of these are basically interdependent. So this takes a lot of time to reconfigure. Now this model are defined, what kind of a document we are going to save. Now we can move forward to the modules. Yes. Now for modules, okay, how can I elaborate for Node.js terms? Actually, there are terms in Node.js, but how can I just make it simple for you guys? Okay, so let me just write it. Just make a branch first. Something router, the router, controller, router. Okay, models and this are the routers. Okay, so in this model, we'll be creating these models, like these are the schemas, and of course there would be a few more stuff in this model, like I cannot even write this, there would be different file, but this will be clear when we'll be actually coding. So something like schema, which are these basically these details, and then maybe we can call it db call, database call. Like as much as database call we need, we'll be holding it all in the models section, not like this. So we'll be holding all of these in the model section so that all the database call and the schema are interdependent with each other. And then on modules, what we'll be doing, like the entire, like suppose this is, I cannot even draw here. Right? No, suppose there is an application, like suppose, wait, let me just create, not suppose. This is the app, right? Now this has something like login page, right? So this login page is basically the router. We can just put something like router, and this router does something, right? So suppose maybe login method, right? Which is controller. So when you launch on any app, like considering a regular app, then you need to do something like login, right? So when you are redirected to the login page, or maybe the home page, or maybe the user page, maybe any page. So those are route. We call it route, like which route, the login route, the home route, or whatsoever. And then the controller is behind that route, what are actually happening. Like suppose if you go to the login route, the controller should check that within login route what you brought for. Like suppose, do you have email ID and password? Then enter this route and go to the controller. Then if you do not have email ID and password, then from this route only you will go back to the application with error, like you do not have credentials, or maybe not the right credentials or whatsoever. And that method, like is it a right method, is it right credentials, the email ID is matched, the password is there, and all of these conditions are handled on this controller only. So in modules, we'll be handling this two stuff. Like suppose, let's add, you know what, let's not do it this way. Yes, let's do something like, so in models also we'll be creating, suppose, users, right? And let me put it different color. Yes, so in models there would be all these model already, like suppose user, payment, categories, items, and orders, because all these are just a schema and the database call, right? But we are not using this database call. Like suppose we have created, as in here, we can illustrate this here. Suppose we have created something like our schema, and then we have also created something like db call, database call. These are there, right? Like that, we have designed our schema, like what kind of data would be there, what are, and so on. Then with all of these data, like suppose when we need to find something, we need to add any data, we need to update any data, so all those db transactions would be here, right? Then like within this two file, all this two part is the model part, right? And these are the controller part, these three, right? Let me just create one more controller. These, and these. Whatever. And then here models, but actually this should not be the controller, this should be modules, and these are the models. Okay, so we have this two stuff, right? We have the models here, we have the models here, we have the modules here, we have the models here, but these are not connected. Like suppose a user is coming through this application to these particular route and then the login method. But to check that if that user exists with that particular mail ID or not, we need to go here, like to check this schema, to call this database call and check into the DB that this particular data exists or not. And all those methods are just here, like on to check in database and everything is we are calling here, right? So just to connect this, we need something like this, right? So for these only, this common stuff, this common stuff, we are calling the controller, which are all of these stuff, or we can call it anything anyways. Controller we have called anyway. So this is making a bit more confusion, I guess. Let me go through again. So we have a lot of confusion. Share this record link in Telegram. Unable to see anything. Unable to see anything. I'm sorry, could you send the recording for this? Harneet, is my screen visible or?
Sir, when you do this, you zoom the screen, then it's visible properly. Like when you just.
Okay, got it. So I'll
Yeah.
just zoom it a little bit.
Yeah, now it's properly visible.
Perfect, right? Okay. So just a short refresher. Within this application, we are going to create two type of data, two type of folders, short of, and we are going to handle two different things in this, both of this controller and router. And even if it is not getting clear, it's absolutely fine. When we'll be coding on this, then of course this would be clear. So in this model and module, right? And now both of these would have the same data. Like suppose if the model has a user model and categories model and items model, so the modules also would have the user module, then categories module, and so on, right? And all those stuff would have this controller and router itself. Like suppose the categories and maybe the items, right? Now these are the same data, but we need two branches of this. The first one is controller. Let me just keep it away. That was just for example purposes. Of course, I'll be sharing this link. Do not worry. This is making a lot of conflicts. Okay. So these users, suppose for now, today we are already out of time. Let's just discuss the user. Suppose we are getting the user, we have the controller and the router for sure. Now in user route, what we can have, like suppose login, sign up, maybe in login, sign up, and update details. So all these stuff we would have in user router, right? And the same thing we would have on the controller. Like these two are almost same. Like the router will be handling here, the controller will handle the method behind it. Now the items and categories, both of these would have the same. Like suppose add item, maybe remove item, update item, and the same thing we would have here, add category, update category, and remove category. So these three things these are the functions, these are the routes that we are going to build for every particular module, of course. I know this is going to make a lot of confliction here, but trust me, this is going to make sense when we'll start code, and then we would be already clear what are the functions, what are the methods, what are the routes we actually need for this particular modules. And this is highly needed. Trust me, when you're going to build a huge application, or maybe if you start working somewhere, or maybe if you get stuck with a good client, a really good client, they will literally ask you what is your actual plan. And then you really need something like this to show them that this is what your plan and this is how you're going to build that software for them. Now these are the categories, items, and now what I want is I'm going to share this particular whatever I've built here as a PDF, or maybe the link I'll share in Telegram only. If you haven't joined the Telegram group, then of course join there. Harneet, please send the link in the chat box. And what I need your help on is get inspired by this. Make your, or just go to Coggle.it and make your own schema, make your own module, make your own flow, just to get a practice and hands-on what you know what how your mind works and how you can design on your own, and then just and how you can and how we can interact on this is just create what you are going to, and then take a screenshot or anything, put it on Instagram and just tag me simply, and also Geeks for Geeks and Skillvalley for sure, and then just tag there, and I'll give you direct feedback that what are needed to be improved, and this might be something like this, this might be something like this. Then we'll interact a bit more right there. I guess for today, that's pretty much it. And for all these modules, we'll be discussing tomorrow. And tomorrow, what we are going to build is, yes, tomorrow we are going to set, I guess, we are already pretty sure what kind of a module we need, what kind of model we need, and what functionalities we need. So of course, we need more branches here that we'll be creating. And then tomorrow, we will be starting to set up our node environment, like what coding studio we are going to use, preferably VS Code. I know even most of them. And then to set the node environment on hand. And and actually that is going to take a lot of time to set the node environment. And if we get enough time, of course, we'll be setting up the the node environment, and we'll be also setting up this particular hello route at least. I guess that's all for today. Okay. Share Telegram link. Telegram link is already above.
Thank you so much for today's session. It was really great. The flowchart that you have created, it's like pretty much informative things that have been shared. So we are up for the Q&A. If someone is there to ask the question, please raise your hand. We can have.
For sure.
Yeah, sure. You can.
Hello, thank you very much for the presentation. Please, can we use LinkedIn instead of this? I mean, for the model, can we use LinkedIn instead of using the other platform you mentioned? Instagram, I mean, yes.
We are not clearly audible. Your voice is somewhat lagging. So can you repeat?
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that can we use LinkedIn after making the model of our own? Can we use LinkedIn instead of using Instagram? Do you get that?
You're trying to say, like, can we use LinkedIn rather than Instagram?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, anyone up for the Q&A can raise their hand. Yeah, and Visha.
Sir, I was saying that I understand the control. I mean, I understand the router, but controller, what it is, I didn't get.
Okay. In short, in route, what happening is like um, suppose your home, right? So in your home, there are different rooms, like suppose your room, your mother's room, and maybe your brother's or sister's room. Now all these rooms, consider all these rooms are the route. Like suppose if they go to your room, you will be there to welcome them, right? Now suppose if they go to your parents room, then your parents would be there to welcome them. Then these different room are the different route, like which way they want to go. And now suppose if they go to your room, now you will be there to welcome them, and the way you will welcome them is this sort of a controller, the method what is actually happening. And I go, if consider me, if I am going to the to your parents room, then the way your parents are welcoming me would be the parents controller. Like after going that particular route, what is happening after going to that particular route is the entire module, the method we call controller. That what is happening behind the scene, what is happening after reaching to that client, reaching to that particular route, that method we are calling here controller.
Thank you, sir. I think if anyone else have any question or anything wants to ask, so please ask your question first, or raise your hand so that we can unmute to you. Okay. I think, sir, it's done from their side. They understood very well that they are not getting any more doubts. So thank you for today's session. Okay. One person got a doubt. His name is Shoaib. May I unmute him, sir, if you allow me? Like if you have a time for us.
Yes, there's a, it's fine.
It's done. Yeah, sure. You can unmute yourself now.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Please, what's the name of the whole model? What's the name? What is it called? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Shoaib, the role model was made on google.in. You can
Sorry,
go
I
and
didn't
like
get you.
there's
What?
flowcharts.
I can't hear you very well, sir.
Oh yes, that Goggle one, right? I'll share. Of course, I'll share this on Telegram.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shoaib, for your question, and we hope that you get the links. We will share the link on the Telegram soon. So thank you, sir, for being here and just giving us an amazing session for the day 2 also. We hope everyone would be back for the day 3 and would be here to learn more from you. Thank you so much.
Guys, there is a
Yes, of
feedback
course,
form in
hopefully. And just in the last way, the way we are actually creating this on Goggle Notes, just share this on Instagram and tag Gigs for Geeks and Skillvalleys and me, so that we can check. Sorry, that we can literally check that how you are actually progressing, and how you are implementing all of these stuff, and how much capabilities you have on your own to build this from scratch.
Yeah, surely, sir. We will. I hope everyone will go with this. And thank you for being here, sir. Okay. At last, I just want to say you guys that like you guys have
Thank
to
you so much.
Yes. Yes, sir. Are you saying something?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, guys, please fill the feedback form. It's open for only 30 minutes. So like your attendance will be marked on the basis of the feedback form, and the top performers who, on the basis of their attendance and their engagement and during the session, the way they ask their doubts and their presence, they will get the goodies from the Geeks for Geeks. So please be present and also make your projects and tag Geeks for Geeks, Skillvalley.in, and sir also on Instagram, so that we get to know that yes, you are learning from this bootcamp. So thank you again once again for being here, and please join the Telegram group if you haven't for the further information. And that's it from our side. Thank you so much for being here.